everybody, welcome to the World of Bikes YouTube channel. My name is Brendan, and today we've got a beautiful Bmw K1200S that we will be doing a review on. Gorgeous bike, pretty much dead standard. We've just put some fresh Domino grips on it as the standard grips are busy wearing out. 45,000 kilometers on it. We just did a major, well not a major but a basic service on it. So basically just changed fluids, made sure everything was all good. I hope you guys really enjoy the video. We've got some really cool facts about this bike, as well as some really nice runs where we get into some speed on it and really make it scream. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section, and I hope you guys enjoy. Good morning everyone, Brendan from worldofbikes.co today. Yeah, and today we've got this beautiful K1200S that you guys saw in the intro. We're going to do a quick review on it. So let's get this show on the road. So we're going to just start it up. Bike is absolutely ice cold. Just wait for those to go away. That ABS light will flicker until you get moving. Bike comes with 3 different sports modes, which is comfort, normal and sport. So for all intents and purposes today, we're gonna smash it on sport mode. There we go. Okay, so you'll actually see it says sport and it's got a little helmet next to it. There, that ABS light goes away. Okay, so I was very surprised generally riding this bike for the first time. The seating position reminded me a lot of a Blackbird, and just how the bike basically just felt in terms of seating, how far your arms go forward, all that kind of stuff. Not really similar to a Hayabusa. I feel the Hayabusas pull you in a lot more. But this is definitely a very, very comfortable bike. This is a bike that I'd be more than happy to do a good length of touring on. This is the kind of bike that you can do a 200 to 300 kilometer trip without even really thinking of stopping. I would confidently say that I could do a 200 kilometer trip on this bike without stopping. So this is actually the first time that I'll be riding it in sport. I've been riding it in comfort the whole time, and it actually caught me off guard, surprisingly. Because I did notice that the throttle response was a bit lazy, and that was actually one of the main cons that I was going to talk about in the video, was just the lazy throttle response down low. But now in the sports setting, I've already noticed a major difference in terms of just responsiveness. I mean, we're in 4th gear now, and the bike responds a heck of a lot better. So just some quick stats about this bike. 167 horsepower, which is roughly about 8 shy of the Suzuki Hayabusa, the same 2006 model. I'm actually not 100% sure about the Blackbird. She weighs in at 248 kilograms, which means she's a bit of a heavy girl, but she's pretty quick too. So still, however, 2 kilos lighter than the Hayabusa. 19-liter fuel tank, twin discs in the front with ABS, something that, and then 1 rear disc, single-sided swing arm, of course, that leaves that beautiful BMW side wheel exposed. I'm actually a little bit sad that this bike has the stock exhaust on, because it is so big. I would much rather have a smaller exhaust on, just so you can see that wheel a little bit better, because it is really beautiful. So going on from there, the brakes are somewhat unique. They're not only the normal BMW ABS package, they're also electronically assisted. So the first time I got the bike, taking it off the trailer, I had the ignition on and I started pulling the front brake as I was pulling it off. And I noticed weird whining sounds, and of course started panicking. A little bit of research on our good old friend Google proved to me that it was just the assisted brakes doing what they're supposed to. Read on a couple of forums, and they actually said that if you don't hear that, you should start worrying. There is definitely a major difference in the bike in terms of how it brakes when the ignition is off and the ignition is on. Obviously just pushing it around the shop and moving it around, that kind of stuff. There is a huge difference, so I'm very happy for the assisted braking. I have had to do some very hard stops. We'll see if we can do one here or there while we're doing the review, and I've been extremely impressed. I think above everything, for this being a 2006 year model, it is BMW's first attempt at a real sport style bike with a sports touring bike. These actually fall in the hyper sports touring class because it's not like your VFR 800 and that kind of stuff. This thing makes a whole lot of power and it goes a whole lot of quick. With a top speed of 286 kilometers per hour, a 0 to 100 speed of 3 seconds, a 0 to 150 of 5.3, and a 0 to 200 in 8.3 seconds. That is something really to be proud of, I feel. I mean, today some of our fastest supercars are only breaking the 3-second barrier now when it comes to 0 to 100. They've been doing this since 2006. Now, granted, it is a motorcycle, it's got a lot less weight and all that kind of stuff. I still think it's incredibly impressive. A 0 to 200 time of 8.3 seconds. That's plenty quick. That is really plenty quick. The stats show a standing quarter mile time of 11.4 seconds at 209. I don't quite believe that. I think it can go a little bit quicker if it does a 0 to 200 in 8.3 or 8.4. I think it's definitely leaving a little bit on the table there. So far, in general, I've been very impressed by this bike, as I have been with all the BMWs that I've reviewed on the channel. I mean, we did the F800 ST, we did the F800 GS. These are just good bikes. They last forever. They can get very high mileage. The F800 GS had 92,000 kilometers on. In BMW terms, this bike is very much still a spring chicken. It only has just over 45,000 kilometers on it, with still a lot of life left into it. Something I do want to chat about is just the lack of needed maintenance on this motorcycle. In terms of everything going on, it does have a pretty unique fuel system with the oil tank sitting under the seat. You'll see there's a pretty big reservoir just sitting there, and that feeds oil to the rest of the bike. It's got a really nice dipstick as well, which I must admit, that is something I wish was on all bikes. Just makes it a heck of a lot easier instead of trying to crawl in under the bike and look at the little gauge on the side. And then as well, it is shaft driven, so it doesn't have a chain, and it also doesn't have those horrible belts that some of the BMWs came with, like the F800 ST or the Harley Davidsons. They're good. They don't need to be maintained as much as a chain, but they are very pricey to replace. So the shaft drive only takes oil. However, what I would advise is when you do maintenance on the shaft drive, do take it into a shop unless you have a oil vacuum, because you will need to vacuum the oil out of there. However, with that being said, it basically works similar to a rear differential in a car, and the maintenance on it is very, very low. I would probably advise, I'm not 100% sure of the, there we go, there we can get some panic braking done. Absolutely no skidding, nothing. It just holds it. It just beautifully holds it. I would definitely advise taking it to a shop, and roughly every 40 to 50,000 kilometers is what I've read online. I may be wrong, so please don't crucify me in the comment section of this video. Other than that, something that was very, very interesting about this bike was the fact that it doesn't have forks. Well, it has forks, but not traditional telescopic forks that take fork seals and fork oil. Essentially, in the front, it's got one big swing arm with a shock in the middle, and this has made the bike a little bit lazy to get into the corner. But once you're into that corner, and it just sticks on a line and it keeps going. I wouldn't compare it to something like a KLR 650. Those bikes are incredibly lazy in a corner. This bike is definitely quite a lot more agile than that was. But then again, this is a sports touring bike. This is not a GP winning bike. This bike is supposed to be comfortable. It is supposed to be spacious. It's supposed to get you where you're going safely, comfortably, well, as safe as you can ride it. It's very, very tempting having roughly 170 horsepower under your wrist when you're going down a downhill in a 60 zone to keep it under wraps. So something that I would like to complain about in this bike, which I probably shouldn't, is the gauge cluster. I think the gauge cluster for this scale of bike is very outdated. If this was something like the F800 ST or the GS, I can understand it. It's, you know, it's a bike. It's supposed to do bike things. Whereas these bikes are not really daily drivers, although I would be happy to daily ride this one. They're meant for a little bit more than that. I mean, if you're going to go all the way with ABS assisted braking, fancy swing arm style forks and all that kind of stuff, I would really like to see just a little bit more of an advanced gauge cluster. Something like a digital speedometer. That would have been beautiful. I mean, CBR has been doing that for many years. Well, the Hondas have been. Even during this 06-08 cycle, they were still doing it. So that is really something that I would have loved to see. But overall, it looks like a BMW. It rides like a BMW. It goes like a BMW. And I'm very sure it's as reliable as a BMW. This bike in particular, we've been very lucky with. In terms of it has been maintained really well, and it looks really good. These bikes, normally you see them dinged up because they do get ridden quite a lot. It's not very common to see these bikes in South Africa with 100 to 120,000 kilometers on them, because they get used. They get put to their purpose. Let's see if we can just move a little bit. Hello, what are you doing, kind sir? Sorry for ending the video so abruptly, guys. We ended up driving right into a roadblock where they just checked our licenses, made sure the bike was on the road, and obviously it passed with flying colors. Let me know in the comment section if you guys have ever ridden one of these. What do you guys think about it? What did you think of the review? I personally had a lot of fun on this bike, especially when I started playing with the driver modes. The sport mode was definitely what it was lacking. The throttle response on it is absolutely beautiful. And it sounds good, it looks good. I always made the joke that it goes like a steam train on Viagra. Overall, a very, very good bike. As always, what I would normally do, I'd put on an aftermarket exhaust just to get that sound out a little bit more. At the end of the video, I am going to add 2 or 3 clips of just me running through the gears so that you guys can get a sense of the sound, maybe a little bit of a sense of the speed. And that's all for today. So I hope you guys have a lovely day further. Thanks for watching.